hang on the mount while we lower the car, or while we take the subframe out, and then we'll put a jack back underneath it.
I think we thought it was going to be an easy year, that we would just be able to come out, race, and have some fun with not a whole lot of effort. But as we know, that didn't quite turn out.
But how does that work? So what are we doing? The lowering the car or lowering the engine?
Lowering the car. Actually, no, we can't go from. Actually, yeah, we can. Sneaky. I mean, we could just bring it forward.
We kept getting the false hope. I think the problem is letting our guard down a little bit. As soon as we fixed a problem, we figured, okay, that's the last one, instead of the reality that it was going to be one after another.
It's probably just like water, sand, and stuff from grime. I don't think these bolts have been taken off ever.
I would say of the whole season, Shannonville ended up being the most disappointing race for me. You know, both days, had the race ended at, call it the 4-hour mark, we would have been on the podium, potentially even first in GT1 on the second day of the weekend. And the recovery from that race was essentially we decided to rebuild the entire driveline.
Okay, this one is not going on. What not?
At the Shannonville race, the disappointment was with the car, not so much with our planning or our execution. I think it was really just purely with the car, that it was running so well, we had tested before, and everything felt fantastic, and for something to break like it did, that was pretty disappointing. Throughout the whole season, we were pretty consistent that, you know, this car was our car, and we were going to keep going until we were going to make that full 16-hour weekend. And so we had, even though we had some issues, we always stayed on the path of, you know, this is our car, we're going to make it work, and this RSX is going to see the checkered flag at some point, whether it's, you know, first or last, it's going to make it through the whole 16 hours.
Wheels look so nice on it.
I know, the fitment's like
Try to push the bike closer to your mouth. It is upside down. It's upside down.
Guys, run around.
We thought it would fix it. You want to actually fix it? Yeah. It's too late now.
Okay, so how do I?
Yeah, we have to cancel the lights.
How do I share?
Cancel it, then we do it. We say sorry about it being upside down. So everyone turn their monitors upside down. Yeah, just like do this.
What's going on, y'all? It's wet, and I'm gonna try to survive. That's the name of the game today, and try out the new Conti.
I remember qualifying was actually pretty hopeful because we went into it, we tried out the RS4s first, and the car actually felt surprisingly good. I was a bit worried going into it that I would just be locking the brakes everywhere, hydroplaning everywhere, and I'd almost be too afraid to even get into fourth gear. But there was surprisingly, enough traction. The standing water moments, there were a few of them when we first went out for qualifying that were, a little bit sketchy, but, when the visibility was good, you could drive around them.
Doing some sim racing actually helped a lot because typically when you go do track days, you try to go when the conditions are great. A lot of times when it's raining, you may just call it off and end up not going.
Is that really helping or is it making it worse?
It helps a little bit. We just need to get the moisture from off the windshield because the problem is that all the moisture it just re-runs.
Got a good lap in.
Sorry?
You got a really good lap in.
Really?
Yeah.
What place are we?
I think they said second.
Oh, second. Yeah. Once the race started though, and the cars were around, the windshield fogging up, and the lack of visibility just from the spray, things got a little bit wild at that point. That's where I think for the first time in our Lucky Dog history, I was actually, edge of my seat. I was kind of uncertain of how things were gonna go. First pit stop I did wasn't too bad. It was the second one when I had zero visibility. I had no corners to look at. I was really focusing on looking out my driver's side window to figure out where I was on the track. I had totally forgot that there was a service road as you entered the pit. And so because my reference point was the left side, I stayed along that service road as opposed to going into the pits. And so when I was looking along that service line and I see a gate, I kind of thought to myself, I don't remember that. I can't see. Yeah, go. Good. There's a few more of them. Guys, I literally took the wrong road for the pit. Thankfully, that was at a low speed. You know, talking less than 40 kilometers an hour. But, you know, sometimes, you know, well, A, out on track, that could have been a lot worse. And then B, you know, going into the pits, if I had gone in a lot quicker, like I would normally, that could have been really bad. I took this service road instead of the pits because I couldn't see.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
I think Patrick took the wrong pit entrance.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
I almost took the pit.
See, if we mount it like that, right here, he said that's not that much of a worry.
plug them into the USB port first. Like, unplug everything from the USB ports, the left side ports.
We got 2 open plugs.
Yeah, they're both open. Just unplug both. They're not being used. All right, now go ignition on, fuel pump off, ignition on. Sergio, ignition's on your side.
Yeah, 1 second.
Fans blowing?
Yeah.
How much CFM? You feel it?
I feel nothing.
Is it turning?
Yeah, it's almost nothing though.
Yeah, it's very limited.
Doesn't do anything.
I don't think that'll do much.
It's like right there blowing on it, but it's not doing anything. Should we try the dish soap? Dish soap? Leave it on there, see if it helps.
I mean, if it's gonna be like this, honestly, I don't know if we should drive it. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I was the third driver in for the day, I wasn't all that disappointed when we had to pull the plug on the car and just wrap up the weekend. You know, it was cold, it was wet. To be honest, I think the thing that upset me the most the entire weekend was just having wet shoes. I really wish I brought my boots.
It's still going to be a bit of a challenge. I don't think that we're completely out of the woods yet with some of the issues on the car, but I'm hopeful. I think that we're definitely going to improve compared to this year, and I really see us by the end of the season finishing those 16-hour races, not at the bottom, but I think near the top. So I'm pretty excited.
Until that one catches, that's it.
We can throw it back on in a bit.
Something, man. Watch at the end of the day, it's just like video of Louis.
Oh yeah.
Well, he was in our very first race. No, Shannonville. Yeah.
It was in Shannonville.
Wasn't that our first race?
It was.
With the
Honda.
Fit.
Was it?
It was when we had.
Shannonville was very small.
Because that was the weekend that we crashed, like the front bumper was
That was with the Civic. That was the year after.
no, the bottom is like so, it's like red
It's
hot.
like Inferno.
Yeah. It can. I feel it does.
Yeah,
I'm like a driving range, smack a bucket type of guy.
Yeah.
I suck at the sausage.
Then cut the ring off of it and then stretched it out and put another piece over the shelf.
It's like just normal specs, but because I'm like really short.
Short as what? Sorry, Chris. What? Finish that sentence.
I'm pretty short. I have to like change the line. Well, because they're all made for someone like 5'10", but I'm not 5'10".